America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every day at noon Eastern, that's 9 Pacific, for about an hour each day. We'll do 3 gun-related topics, different topics throughout the week. We pick those topics on Monday, so if you'd like to help create the show, join us on the beginning of the show on Mondays, where we map out the week. We run it live on YouTube and simulcast it over at gunchannels.com. We're watching the live comments from the people over on Gun Channels and on YouTube. When it's all over, we'll take the audio from the show and post it on iTunes as a podcast. So we're always interested in comments from people that are watching the shows now or in the future. So we encourage people to leave us comments on those videos once they're posted or once they're rendered, once those podcasts are up. That lets us know you're out there. It also lets the systems know that people are interested in these shows and hopefully recommends them to more listeners, more viewers. That's one of our goals. So we appreciate the people that take the time to do that for us. We've got hosts. We've got Bob jumping in from Canada. Thanks for joining.
Hey, glad to be here.
Then we got Smeggy jumping in from Michigan.
Hey, how's everyone doing today? It's nice to finally be able to get on the show for the whole time and not have to rush back to work.
Right on. Then we got Jimmy running the show, normally up in Phoenix. Thanks for jumping in.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
And then I'm in Tucson. So today is episode 450. We're going to be talking about gun tech. It's Friday, so we're talking about gun tech. How light is too light for triggers. For the gun biz, we're going to talk about how to get into the ammunition business. And then for the alternative gun topics, the idea or the concept of doing a stock repair by piecing together different guns. And I guess our gun of the day is going to be the 450 Bushmaster. Not this. So let's move that down. And then we'd do things like a gun shop of the day and a gun movie of the day and everything else. So being episode 450, I guess we'll dig right in. So gun tech, triggers. How light is too light? I guess we're talking, it depends on what we're talking about, right? CCW or hunting or what?
Yeah, that's true.
I would say one thing, I don't necessarily have a number to say like, oh, it's this many pounds or whatever, but I know when you're trying to lighten up a trigger and one of the things you're doing is putting in a lighter hammer spring, sometimes that can cause, something not to ignite the primers. Like if it's not hitting hard enough, so that's something to take into account. You can keep lighting it, and then you might find certain ammo doesn't run reliably, things like that. So you want to at least keep that in mind, that if you lighten it up too much, you might actually start hurting yourself as far as reliability goes.
Yeah, I usually the way I go lighten anything up, I just give it a quick polish, see if I like it, and go from there. But I usually don't like to do anything more than that. Just kind of take that, I guess.
Well,
but how like
there's definitely, there's definitely something to that. I mean, because there's a difference between like a smooth trigger that is still the same weight versus, like whatever I'm thinking AR triggers, like the mil spec, where it's kind of gritty and just a little bit rough, where it's only, I don't know, like I said, I'm not good with the number thing. I don't have a trigger gauge or anything, but if it's normally 5 pounds, it's like a gritty 5 pounds feels way different than a smooth 5 pounds, and sometimes just smoothing it out will make a big difference. Or you put it in different springs and you get it down to a 2 pound trigger pull or whatever. So, but I don't do a lot of trigger modifications or everything. I did swap out the trigger on my AR. I went with that ALG it's supposed to, it's all polished up, and it's, the components are coated with, like, what is that, Teflon something? And it is super buttery smooth and polished up really, really nice. But they give you two different springs. You can put the one spring set in, and it's still the same poundage as a regular mil spec. And they say you can do that, to make sure you still reliably hit hard primers and they still go off. Or you put the other springs in and it, knocks a pound off the trigger pull or whatever. So you can lighten up a little bit. But that's the only thing I've ever really messed with triggers on. I've never replaced any other triggers or done any other work.
I guess like another thing too is if you like to kind of set the trigger right before it breaks, I guess there's a point where you can lighten it up too much where you can't set it, and you just, I don't know.
No, I think the break is more important than the pull, but trigger pull, I think anything down to about, for a hunting rifle, 3 pounds, that's pretty light. And I don't know, for concealed carry, I never really thought about that, just because, I kind of want to leave trigger stock for that.
That would be my instinct as far as the concealed carry goes.
Yeah.
Is just because when you lighten it up, I mean, that it could be a safety type thing. I mean, that's my carry gun is just, it's a decocker model, so the only thing keeping that trigger from being pulled is obviously me not putting my finger on it, and then also it's a heavy double action pull on the first shot, kind of like how revolvers, if it's an old double action or whatever, there's no safeties, there's no anything else, it's just it takes a while to pull the thing. So if you lighten that way up, then you possibly could have issues. I mean, I'm not saying it's super dangerous or anything, but you wouldn't carry a 1911 around, cocked and not locked, because those have super light triggers, and you wouldn't want something bumping it or whatever.
Well, I think we solved that. Or at least muddied the water enough that makes it sound like it.
Ghost is saying he likes a good 3.5 pound trigger.
For what?
I think that's for an AR. I don't know exactly, but
I think it was Philo had asked the question, and it was because he bought a Geasley combat trigger, and the pull is 2 pounds. So he says that seems pretty light. Yeah, unless you're doing like target shooting, maybe I could see a 2 pound trigger. I mean, I've used set triggers on black powder that you pretty much breathe on them once you've set it, and it'll go off. But you've got to actually set the trigger first, so it's fairly safe otherwise.
Yeah, so with the whole how light is too light question, I guess it could be up to the user, I guess, the operator.
Yeah, I don't think there's any set standard. I think it's got so much to do with what you're doing with it, as well as what you want and what you're used to.
Yeah, like how light is too light when it doesn't work.
And that's why I mentioned the hard primer thing.
Yeah,
because that legitimately is, that'd be too light. But if you're making the trigger lighter and not messing with the hammer spring power, if, like you say, if you're just polishing it up, or maybe I know in pistols they have little what do you call it, like the trigger links or whatever, like you're pulling the trigger and then other pieces are moving, which are then disengaging the hammer and letting it fall forward, or the striker or whatever. Sometimes polishing those and replacing those types of things, they still don't affect how hard the firing pin is hitting the primer, and yet your feel, like what you're using, what you feel as a user, it's a lighter pull. So that kind of stuff, then yeah, just as light as you can still use it, I guess. I don't know. I'm obviously not an expert on triggers. I only replaced the one and called it a day. And I definitely enjoyed that trigger. I think that's one of the best upgrades you can do to an AR. And for 50 or $60, you're getting a heck of a lot better trigger than the mil spec, and you're not spending $200 to $300 for like the super crazy ones, which are probably I'll agree, like they're still a lot nicer, but for me, I don't think the law of diminishing returns is not worth a couple $100 for a trigger. I don't have that demand, me personally.
Yeah, well, I think
I always like to have some kind of a visual aid so that we can to talk about so we can see what we're talking about easier.
Oh snap!
What the heck?
How light is that trigger?
I'm not sure. So
randomly light.
So a visual pop quiz today. So if you're over on the gun channels or over on Instagram, since we're getting more people watching us on Instagram than we are anywhere else, those are the people that are eligible today. So it'll be the oh shit, what I just closed. It'll be the first person to correctly identify who are eligible today. So it'll be the oh shit, what I just closed. It'll be there. All right.
Whatever you just closed, you just opened.
Right. So how are we going to watch the gun channel side and the Instagram side? So we got a howdy ho. No. Shotgun. No. Somebody else has to get the countdown clock.
Click, clickety, click, click, clickety, click, click, tick, 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 tick.
Like it could be a trick. But no answers. Nothing coming in on the gun channel side.
You're sure zoom out a lot slower than that other guy.
I mean, one click and he's already zoomed out. That guy.
Oh, that's a huge hint right there.
Oh, yeah.
Stop there for a second and see what people say.
Speed copy. 6, 5, 4. We got 4 more seconds. 0. No answers on the Instagram.
Oh, somebody should be getting it by now.
No correct answers on the YouTube side either.
No. Velmet, German subgun, AK.
No, we're not getting German subgun on the gun channel side. We're only watching the gun channel side.
Oh, okay, live on the YouTube German subgun side.
Oh, come on, people.
Doesn't matter what just the gun channel side. Here's the English. We're only watching the gun channel side and the Instagram side. So Moon Food got it. The underwater AK. Boom.
Man, I don't think it's biscuits and sausage and gravy.
No, it wasn't.
That was on the Instagram. Anyways.
Only the Russians would build something like that.
Looks ergonomic.
So Moon is the winner. Thanks for participating and winning.
That's Moon.
Yeah, good job, Moon, for being the expert scuba diver that you are. That makes you the tactical hot shit of the day.
Oh, thank God Smeggy was here. I wouldn't want to try to do that.
I had to put some gusto in it. I have not done that in a long time, and I forgot how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was like the extended version.
Did some
Black Friday special, 25% more Smeggy hurt lungs.
Did somebody record that? Because we could just continue to use that one. And not do it, right?
Only if Moon wins every time.
We'll just use the we'll just cut the Moon part out, and somebody can just say the name.
So, anyways, good job, Moon. There's definitely some
way to go,
hints
man.
in there. It started zooming out.
That'll take us into the gun biz. We're going to be talking about getting into the ammunition business. But before we do, we'd like to feature one of the members over on Gun Channels each day. Gun Channels is a place we built a while back. It's a community focused on firearms. It's completely driven by its members. So with that in mind, we feature a member each day. And every once in a while, we also feature one of the people over on Patreon that we support. So there's lots of gun channels over on Patreon. Patreon is a platform for funding. It's also a bit of a social media platform. So I see some value in supporting gun channels over there. So something that we've known for a long time is Late Boy Scout. Started out doing a YouTube channel, kind of like you could say like a more concise version of Nothing Fancy. He does very similar type of product reviews, a lot of knives and firearms that he owns. Does them in a very similar format to what Nothing Fancy used to do, but he did them a little shorter, so like 5-minute videos. And pretty neat format and a lot of content. And he's gone off to the different platforms. I imagine he's on Facebook, but I've seen him on Instagram quite a bit, and he's constantly doing stuff. So somebody we want to continue to support. We've done some projects with him in the past, and if you're not familiar with him, definitely check him out. Late Boy Scout. And we'll throw a link out there.
I just popped I popped the link out on both sides.
Okay, thanks. So we also have a link in the description. So and of course over on our Patreon. So
yeah, I think I've seen some of his stuff. He's pretty good.
That's the best way to find it, is to go to our Patreon, drop in a couple bucks, and then you can see the people we're supporting, and then you can find them through there.
Exactly. All right, so that'll take us into the gun biz. Every week we talk about gun business. This week we'll talk about how to get into the ammunition biz. So that's an interesting one. In most states, you don't have any kind of regulation or anything unless you're going to import ammunition or manufacture it. But if you're just going to sell it, you don't need a FFL or anything. And I don't know, it can be lucrative, I guess. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, I actually kind of got a little short story about that. There was this local old guy. He was retired and he had been reloading stuff for like 30 something plus years. And he got in with one of the local gun shop owners and took him out shooting whatever. And I guess somehow or another got the guy to trust in his ammunition. So the gun shop owner helped the old guy to get I don't know what kind of FFL he needed to get an ammo dealer license or whatever, helped him out with it. And then he got into the ammo business that way. So now this guy, his part-time job is probably paying him more than he ever got paid at his regular job, because he's at 3 different local shops now, I think. So I don't know. That's a pretty cool way, I guess, to get in.
Yeah, it goes from a hobby to being a job.
Yeah. I don't know how lucrative it would be for somebody to just start off in the ammo business or whatever, but I don't know.
Well, I think I think it'd be lucrative. The trick with the ammo is, volume, because you don't necessarily make tons of market, especially if, like G-Wubs was saying, if you're not manufacturing it, if you're just, reselling it or whatever, and getting into the business that way, and then you don't go through any of the hoops to get licensed or whatever. You gotta buy a whole crap of it kind of cheap and then resell it kind of cheap. I mean,
it'd almost be like playing the stock market too.
Right. Yeah, it's just like anything else. You obviously sell it for cheaper than you bought it for, but in the ammo business, it's so competitive. People will completely ditch you if you're, 1 cent around more expensive than the other guy. So from that point of view, the margins are thin, but you just have to do tons of volume. And as far as from getting into manufacturing and stuff, that's something we saw after the last ammo scare. That's part of the reason why 22 was, a shortage for so much longer than all the other ones. Because if you remember, at first, everything was sold out. You can never find 9, you can never find 223, you can never find 22, you can never find 45, all that kind of stuff. And then the other calibers started coming back. And I know a lot of, you know, remanufacture, you know, reloading companies that decided, hey, let's just start up, you know, and because the demand was so high, it made it worth it to just start cranking out some stuff, or some smaller companies that became big companies because of the huge demand, and they were able to process more stuff, and now they're some of the bigger remanufacturing companies out there, even though they can't get a good website at midnight last night. But anyways, you know, so from that point of view, yeah, just get into it if you're just going to manufacture, or like you were talking about that guy, just, you know, do however much you can do as a regular person and sell it in a couple of gun shops. There's a gun range near me, and the gun store makes their own reload ammo for using in the range. And obviously it's cheaper than the other stuff they have in boxes sitting on the shelf. And they just have their employees, they have a little reloading room in the store. So someone's in there reloading, and then if they have a bunch of customers, it's like, hey, Frank, come here a second. And he stops reloading and goes out and helps customers. And then when they slow down, he goes back into the room and starts cranking out more ammo.
Oh, see, that's kind of neat too. If you're someone like, you know, owns their own business or whatever, have that in the back, I guess. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Incredibly dangerous though, getting interrupted in the middle of reloading.
Yeah. Yeah, that is something you kind of have 100% attention on, I guess. But
I don't know. I guess their setup is pretty well. You know, it's just he's just there to pull a handle kind of thing. I mean,
if everything's dialed in and all they got to do is go in and check and make sure everything's still running right, I guess. And yeah, that I guess, yeah.
There's a question out on YouTube: who's in charge of the licenses? That would be the ATF. I mean, we're talking about a FFL and then whatever type, and I always forget the numbers, but you have to have a federal firearms license to become an ammo manufacturer, and you would get that through the ATF.
I guess it's a Type 6 FFL. Allow you to only manufacture ammunition other than ammo for destructive device or armor-piercing ammo.
Well, that's it. You know, there's another comment out there. He's talking about California is going to ban online ammo sales, and so I was like, yeah, trying to figure out a way to get people affordable ammo. That might be a decent market if you're in California.
You talking about Clay on the Instagram?
No, I was talking about Philo on the YouTube.
Oh, because Clay on the Instagram said that earlier.
Well, maybe he saw that and he stole it and typed it in on YouTube, or vice versa. But either way, yeah, there's about to be a bigger demand in California specifically because of the stupid laws for cheaper ammo. So if you were thinking about ever getting into the business, now might be a decent time to get ramped up and get started.
Yeah, maybe.
I wonder though, how hard is it really though now, since we're talking about getting into it, getting people to trust your reliability and trust your, you know, all that kind of stuff, because yeah, reloading can be dangerous if you get double charges and stuff. So
yeah,
you know, people have their set brands that they like, and that's about it. So I wonder how hard is it to get that new customer? Like, what do you do to get that trust?
Without even being dangerous, if you're inconsistent or you're sloppy, you won't get repeat customers either. So you have to not only be safe, but you also have to be, you know, good at it. You have to make consistent, good ammo, because that's the whole point of ammo, is consistency, right?
Right, because stuff that's, you know, when you're talking about like accuracy, or I guess the word would be precision, you can have a you know, whatever, a certain bullet type and powder and whatever, and someone puts it through their gun and it groups really, really well, but this one goes to the left a little bit. and you have a different setup that groups really, really well, but goes a little high. So if you had two different boxes and they're sorted correctly, someone can dial their rifle in and have really, really good groups, every single time. But if you had those same bullets and they were mixed half and half, you're going to shoot one box and go, what the heck? Half this box goes this way, half the box goes that way. This ammo sucks. Even though if it was all individual, it's like, oh, this ammo groups really, really well. So it's all about getting the
if you have your stuff
out of the same ammo batch.
You have it feed into like a numerical grid of whatever, like a tray, or if you just have it go into a hopper and it just all mixes up. It could be just a process type of thing.
That's absolutely where the type of quality control that you are attempting to achieve, as well as the type of market you are going after within ammunition, fitting that level of quality control.
Dude, somebody left the screen door open.
Yes.
So that brings up, when you talk about type of market, then I guess we're, I don't know, in the situation where we have to deal with shortages and with panic buys, because we've had to deal with that historically here. But I think there's a lot of ammunition, people in the ammo business that are either manufacturing or distributing the rare stuff, the stuff for old guns, for the different war guns, the antique and the obscure.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, wildcat rounds, as they call them, are.
Well, wildcat's a whole different thing. That would be like when you get into your varmint hunters and your like long distance hunters, or your specialty, like taking pistols up into the hills for hunting. But I guess I was thinking more like cowboy and obscure military, which aren't really for any purpose other than not blowing up the gun, but still like physically fitting in the gun, or for display and authenticity, to look accurate to the period.
And then we have distance rounds with the appropriate level of accuracy that's expected. And then you have the distance hunting rounds, which again are not the same as just pure distance and accuracy, because you're going to get probably a different geometry, a different metallurgical projectile for that long distance, that ram that's on the other side of the mountain that you're trying to dial in. Then there's competition, of which there are various types.
Yeah, so definitely that's a good point, right? So you could either decide to go after some of the niche markets where it might be a smaller group, but you're charging more because it's a very
hard to find. But
yeah, my brain just stopped working. But yeah, thanks. Or you can go with I'm just going to crank out 9 mil for 5 cents a round and sell it for 10 cents a round, and undercut everybody.
There's a lot of people that just need to pull triggers on 9mm because they, practicing for competitions, they're practicing their draw, they're practicing some other aspect where, marksmanship isn't the only thing you shoot for. So there's lots of times when you just need the cheapest way to make the gun cycle, cheapest way to get a piece of lead down there.
And that's where the people who have machines that can chug out 100,000 in a very short time frame, where if you're just starting out, unless you've got a big bankroll, that's probably not the market that might best suit you, at least initially.
So except for they're talking on the YouTube side, and I feel like we should probably acknowledge them, saying Philo's saying license that he can buy online and sell it at an affordable price. That's unless you live in a state that prohibits you and puts extra infringements on you, that's not something that's licensed in the United States. So
he's talking about California, so that is the.
I don't care. We're listening. People are listening from other states. So I'm just saying, if there's a state thing, then we'll have to have a specific discussion on the state issues, which is an infringement that the state puts on.
Yeah, but the only issue that really does come into play, and you guys may have mentioned it, so I apologize if you already brought it up, and that's for an individual, there are regulations, federal, on how much powder you can keep in your home or in your business per day. And when you're going to exceed that, that requires an additional license.
That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. The sentence you interrupted was about someone who's buying ammunition and then selling it online, and that doesn't fall under the amount of powder that's storing powder, black powder thing is different, and that's, I still think, a local thing, not a federal thing. But in any case, I was going to say the whole topic as far as getting into the ammunition business, it is one that is not licensed, not regulated. So it is one that's possible for almost anybody. You can literally just buy smartly and frugally, right? And then, oh please, and then
please.
I'm hesitant to pause now. I don't know what to do. I'm freaked out. So okay. So damn, I lost my thought now. So I'm just saying you can either buy it cheap and then sell high, or get in with somebody who's making it or something, or just get in with a wholesaler and get it right off the boat from China or wherever it's coming from. I guess not technically China, but you know what I'm saying, you can get into the business. It's just a matter of, the thing that stops most people is it's heavy. You have to think about it. You bring enough ammo to actually make some money. That's a lot of stuff you're hauling around. So it costs something to get it to you, shipping. It costs something to store it because it's got to live somewhere. And then it costs something if you're either going to take your time or you're going to pay people to drag it to gun shows, which is really your best bet for selling it, right? Then you might be, like I say, that's the thing, that's the barrier to most people getting into it. But think about like a range, or I don't know, some other business where you could just have ammo there. I can think of a couple of businesses in places where there's a lot of bird hunting, where it'll be like a tile place, and they'll have shotgun shells like in a big pile there, because whoever it is that runs the place, or maybe a couple of people that work there, are really into shooting shotguns. So they buy it in quantity, and they know that people will come in and buy it. And since you don't have to be licensed, they'll just have it there in their shop. A lot of pawn shops will have ammo too. But you know, there's that idea that you can buy cheap.
Can I take a leap off of something you said?
Okay, go ahead.
You mentioned in regards to the cost of shipping, and that creates a whole new market for guys that we've all seen who within their region or their area, they'll get their Dillons or their Dillons, multiple of them, do once reloaded kind of stuff, and then go from gun show to gun show, reselling that because of the shipping costs. And they're just putting it in the back of their pickup truck or their van or whatever it has, and bringing it within a limited distance and attempting to resell it because of the cost of shipping.
Yeah, but then you're talking, you've got problems with.
These people make it work. I don't do it as a business, but I know.
Yeah, no, you don't get to jump in. There was no pause there.
It's an Illinois pause. They talk to the
No, but we've all seen people at gun shows doing this. Clearly, it must be a viable business if people are doing it.
What about an Uber-like service that delivers you ammo?
I think there should be.
Drive around the stores and buy it and bring it to you.
Yeah, he could be reloading it as he waits.
You go to your gun show with just a table, and then people can either drag it home if they want, or it gets delivered like the old milk or something. Yep. Like those things. They just drive up and here's your ammo, sir, delivery, sir. I guess the problem would be who wants an ammo truck driving up to their house, offloading a big cart of stuff.
Well, if it was a plain white van.
That's true. If you did it in like a plain unmarked vehicle and just brought it in as if they were bringing in steaks or something.
Yeah.
And that might
the milkman thing's a perfect idea, right? Because the milkman would bring you the stuff like a new thing every couple days or whatever, like no matter what. So yeah, he could just come by and like bring you a couple boxes of ammo every day. And you go shoot that box, and then tomorrow they bring you another box.
And they take away your brass.
Oh yeah.
All right, I think we figured out a new business for somebody. If you do that business, you'll owe us a royalty and a licensing. It's gonna be painful financially for you, but we encourage you to do it because we need the money.
And if I remember correctly, just outside the front door to the side, there was an insulated box where I'm going to call it the ammo man or woman would come, pick up your empties, and then put your new fresh ammo right in that spot.
Now, if we're going to use analogies, let's go to the old coal delivery. So they'll just be like an ammo chute, and they'll just come in and pour an amount of ammo down this chute. That'll go into your magazine loader. Or maybe
that's a good idea. Then you got to worry about leaving your wife home during the day.
Every for the ammo man. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you could also have, for an additional fee, them just give you loaded mags, and then you just give them your brass and your empty mags, and then tomorrow you have loaded mags.
Oh, no, that's a good idea. There's a lot of snowflakes nowadays. They get sore thumbs when they load mags.
So, Ghost, on the gun channel side, which is the best place to do comments, because not only is it the best place, but it's there's all kinds of fabulous prizes and other events happening over there that you don't even know about on the other avenues. But Ghost is saying anyone who reloads can create their own labels and website and sell custom ammo. I mean, yes, technically, I think there is some level where you have to, some thresholds you have to go past before you are required to have licensing. But the liability starts with the first bag of ammo you sell, I assume, right? Like, a lawyer doesn't care if you got a license or not. He probably likes the idea if you don't have a license, because that's an easier case to win. So I would say, from the liability standpoint, you might as well go all in and get, massive insurance and a corporation to take all the brunt of the financial hit if something happens.
Yes, because a corporation is a person, so if they're going to sue someone, they'll sue the corporation.
Well, and that would be an interesting, if we could get somebody, on the other side of the curtain to talk, who's literally doing these gun shows, whether they're loading brand new or they're loading, once claimed to be once fired brass, and to find out, economically, are they able to do that or not, or what they do, if anything.
I like how this guy there's not even a guy. It's just like a theoretical individual who may or may not sell at gun shows, but we're going to go ahead and assume that he's probably will be skeptical about whether that is actually for once fired brass. Like, he may not actually exist, but he's probably a scoundrel.
He's probably scamming you.
I know, right? Everybody's scamming you.
Well, I find it hard to
good point.
Of those of us here have never witnessed somebody at a gun show selling ammunition that they have reloaded.
No, I think that's a good point. It would be interesting to talk to them, because I know people that, from hanging out with the gun shops I hang out with the old guys, a lot of ammo guys that do the old cowboy loads, and they'll make them either a couple of ways. They'll just make them soft so they don't hurt the guns, or real powdery, real smoky. So the single action people, I guess, like real smoky. And then sometimes they have like alternate loads in them too, if they're just shooting those balloons or whatever. So, they'll have to load for those people, both in quantity for practice and then just for, the occasional shooting of an antique. And those guys run the gambit from just a guy doing it occasionally when somebody asks for it, all the way up to, yearly production runs and stuff that people wait around for. Yeah, those would be interesting people to try to talk to. I don't pay attention to them, know if they are in for the long run. Do you guys pay attention at gun shows? Are those the kind of people that are there for a long time, decades, or are they every couple of months there's a new herd of them?
Actually, not the last gun show I went to, which was with you, but the one before that, there was a guy there doing that, and I tried to ask him about the, just the broad strokes, and he was actually just there to be the salesman for the guy that actually runs the ammo, and to load and unload the truck at the end of the day. So he was not able to give me any information, but I tried.
There's a out of California that goes to a bunch of the big Arizona shows. I'm assuming they go to the Nevada and the California and probably the Utah shows even. And they're, like you say, they've got, I don't know, half a dozen dudes that are big to be able to drag all that ammo in and out. And they'll have an entire island or more. They'll have like really their own section of a gun show when they're there. And they have it all down now. They bring in these big giant wheeled carts, but then out on the tables they'll have the samples. So they bring in just tons and tons literally of lead, right? And then all those guys are necessary to keep up, because they usually have people hitting them from every direction, buying stuff constantly over there.
And at least at the shows I've been to, it's fairly common, because they're selling it in bulk for people to say, okay, could you bring it to my car?
Yeah.
Now, these are not massive shows either.
Buying thousands of rounds, though, because that's what I used to do. Yeah. When I was buying ammo, I would wait till gun shows. I mean, that is the cheapest places to get it from those guys. They have no brick and mortars.
Yep.
Yeah, My Wall is the name of the place. Clay, seen them in California, I guess.
It's another micro end of, we have the micro FFLs, we call them the closet FFLs in their homes and stuff. And it's another end of the business, except it's on the ammunition, the consumable side.
All right, well, we'll take a station ID and let everybody know on the Instagram that you're watching the Daily Gun Show. We run the show every day at noon Eastern. That's 9 a.m. Pacific for about an hour each day. We do 3 gun topics. Today it's Friday, so we've been doing gun tech. We just got done with the gun biz, and we're about to get into the alternative topic. And then we have some daily things that we hit as well. So I'd say let's go in and run the daily things. We try to hit a movie every day, something that's gun related. Something you might not have seen in a while, or if you're a youngin', it's something you ain't seen yet. And today it's Hudson Hawk. So I don't really know if it's much of a gun movie necessarily. I think there's some guns in it, but I don't remember if somebody was talking about it the other day or what, but it's in the list. So Hudson Hawk. And you guys remember this one?
I don't think I've never seen this one.
I vaguely remember it. Wasn't it Sly Stallone?
No, it's Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. Okay, well, same thing almost.
So nobody's seen it? Dano?
No, it was in 91, but I'm looking at it. Yeah, that I have not seen that.
Oh, okay. So then you're all in for something interesting. So every once in a while, there's an interesting movie that you guys haven't seen. So I don't know how to explain it. It's different. It's a different movie. It's almost a musical, but it ain't a music. It is a musical, I guess, because they sing in it. But it's the coolest of musicals, I guess. It's not really a musical. Anyway, it's Bruce Willis and Danny Elio, who's the 2 actors in it. And then, yeah, it's pretty interesting. So it's not really a gun movie. It's more of like a thief movie, but weird. It's a weird one too. I think it would give you something interesting to watch. So I would say I'm going to give it 1 thumb up because it isn't the best movie ever or nothing, but highly recommend sitting down and watching it sometime. It's worth it if you haven't seen it. You ever seen Donnie Darko, or I can't think of another movie that was like kind of different, like Pulp Fiction?
Well, I do have a question for you on it. I was just looking at the premise, which is a capital burglar is forced to steal Da Vinci works of art for a world domination plot. That seems like kind of a long. How in the world would they ever tie those things together?
How about this new one called The Kingsman? Have you seen that one?
Yes.
Okay, it's weird like that. I mean, it's not that movie or nothing, but it's in the way that Kingsman is different from other movies. It's different from other movies like that. It's a little singy, like they sing stuff to time their being thieves or whatever. Like they sing little songs that get them through their cat burglary, and it's weird. Like that's how they time their stuff. But it's interesting, and it's sort of a Bruce Willis type of movie. Like it's definitely Bruce Willis before he was all action guy, when he was still coming from TV. Anyway, it's an interesting movie. So I'm gonna I'm just gonna give it the 1 thumbs up. You guys haven't even seen it. We'll see what kind of reviews we're getting on the comments. Nobody's saying anything on Instagram. But I'll be curious to see once you guys have seen it what you think of it, if it was worth it. No, nobody's saying anything about it. So we'll move on. So that was
what was that called again?
Hudson Hawk. Oh, I forgot Smeggy's here. You haven't seen it?
No, I have not. I figured that was just assumed.
All right, so we'll move on. That was the point of that whole segment, though, is to remind people of a movie you haven't seen in a while or one you haven't seen yet. So that'll take us into the gun of the day. So Bob's got to be quick on his Canadian feet over there because he had some other dumb gun in here when obviously it's episode 450. So why aren't we going to talk about the 450 Bushmaster?
450 Bushmaster, because I got no clue. I didn't even think to check the numbers. I found a really cool AK variant that I thought would be kind of cool, but no, we'll do that Monday, I guess.
Boring.
It's a keychain?
No, that's a size comparison. Sometimes these big rounds are expensive, right? You're not going to buy like a box of them for $75 just to have one. So they'll sell you a keychain for $2, and it's the only way to really get a sample of one. Here it is next to 308, though. Every bit is almost as long as a well, it is as long as a 5.56, but it's every bit as big around as the 308 without being neck down at all.
Yeah, it's a straight wall cartridge, rimless.
Looks like a 458 SOCOM.
That's definitely interesting.
Why is Jimmy so silent with such a big bore as the topic?
Yeah, because did they even make barrels for those plastic guns?
450's kind of big, I guess.
What about this green tip?
That AccuTip. Nah.
Got like a little jet.
When I first seen those, I thought it was like a Christmas light thing. Like I didn't think it was a real bullet.
What's the
No.
got like little jet holes in it? What do the jet holes do?
Those are for speed.
Makes like a.
Honestly, it's probably to help expansion when you hit something, because that's.
I think these are handy because if you got the correct twist, you can shoot these across a room, like up into the ceiling or something, where there's like a Phillips screw that you've got to tighten or loosen, but it's way too far away for a screwdriver to reach it. You can just shoot one of these rounds at it.
Yeah, it also works as a drill too. If you got to pre-drill holes or something like that.
But anyways, I know one of the things that people will use the 450 for is hunting.
450
when they.
Yeah, 454.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Anyway,
what did you say they were using them for, Smeggy? I couldn't hear you.
Because I kept getting rudely interrupted. They were using them for hunting because there are some areas where you have to have straight-walled cartridges. You can't use like a neck-down rifle.
Oh, this is the straight wall loophole, the straight wall big bore loophole. Then
there you go.
So they've been using it in Illinois and Ohio and southern Michigan, and
made a bullet just for people who are being infringed upon.
I feel like since it says Bushmaster right in the name, that it's more deadly than a regular bullet.
Yeah, it's mastered the bush.
And I thought if you shot that, you'd just get more ladies.
I'm saying if you looked at that last one that had the 9mm in there, the entire 9mm round is about as big as just the projectile. So you could shoot one of those that then shoots a 9mm. You actually shoot the entire bullet as just the projectile.
I don't think that works, Maggie.
Sure it would. And then you just shoot the back of it with a BB gun to set off the primer, and then the 9mm goes off.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, it's an interesting round. I don't know if we necessarily have a specific gun for it. The one I shot was an AR style gun.
The views of
450
on the views
because it is a rimless cartridge. Is there anything other than an AR that it will shoot out of?
Yeah, they showed a whole bunch
of bolt actions on this page.
Okay. I mean, is it? I thought that was unusual. I thought bolt actions were typically rimmed. No,
I don't care. Bolt actions can be anything. But
okay.
It's almost like this. Like can an AR mag fit into there? Because you can shove these things into an AR mag, right? That's the whole point.
That was the point of that and the 458.
So that would be kind of like this one here. That definitely looks like they're shoving removable detachable mags up in there. Those mag pull mags. That's pretty sweet. You can get a Ruger bolt action that you can jam a 20 round P mag up in there. That looks like a 308 mag though. But whatever. That'd be pretty handy. So would you get this little firearm that's under its 16-inch barrel, but under 26 or with a 26-inch overall length? It's never been a pistol. I mean, it's never been a rifle.
I'm not seeing your screen sharing anymore, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're looking at.
Oh, I guess something like this. Would you get this in 450?
Yes.
No.
Jimmy would, because he hates his hands and he hates his wrist.
No, that grip, the way that grip is angled, that's not even going to recoil that bad.
So this is how you turn an AR into a 450 Bushmaster. Right? That's why it's 450 Bushmaster, right? Because you cram it up into a Bushmaster. But then I was looking at this thing, which looks like it takes an AR mag, right? And then I went down and found this, which is a Ruger 450 Bushmaster Scout, which looks like it takes detachable mags that take the 450. So I think that would be a super nice rifle to have.
Gee, a 2-round magazine. That's got California written all over it.
Yeah, that could be for like elephant hunting or one of them wildebeest or something where you want to shoot one round at a time and then have a couple extra in case.
Well, and that magazine could also just be for hunting regulations, because some states have a total number of ammo that you're allowed to have in the gun while you're hunting.
So we're going to address Falling Hammer over on the Instagram side. Thanks for jumping in. He was one of the people that showed up at the Arizona rally. We got to meet him. He's Californian. Looks like he's in Arizona for the week. Probably up in Prescott. Guessing where this is that where this rifle's made? No. Are the rifles made in Arizona? If I do this, he'll think better. All right. So I guess we'll stop screen sharing. We'll move on to the next thing. And yeah, thanks to everybody who's watching on the Instagram. Way more participation than the people on YouTube or gun channels, it looks like. Yeah, we're live on Instagram. So that was our gun movie. We did the gun thing. Let's do a gun shop. So every day, one of the things we do on the show is feature a gun shop every day. We started doing the show 450 episodes ago or something like that. And whoa, what happened? And one of the reasons we started doing that is so that we could feature a gun shop every day. And now I'll hit the right button, and then I'll click on the other button over here. And we'll take a look at some of the ranges at the Whittington Center.
Next up, we're going to talk about the ranges out at the Whittington Center, the NRA range in northern New Mexico. We just visited the one time, and I got a little map, and we drove around. It was miles between each of the various ranges out there. From looking online, I can't find a comprehensive list of all the ranges, so I know they run the gamut from IPSC to hunting to small bore to archery to shotgun. Long range, everything you can think of, they'll have out there. It's a 33,000 acre facility. They say the local town gets $7 million worth of income just from the visitors at the range out there. So there must be a lot of people heading out there. If you've experienced the Whittington Center and you've shot out there, let us know in the comments about the ranges that you've shot at. And as we get out there and visit more, we'll give you more reports from the place. Until then, as always, thanks for watching.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com.
Oops, not over. All right, so we'll be taking more looks at that place. There's, they say 10 miles of roads out there. So it's a big place. Did I say in this one how big it is? It's 33,000 acres.
Yeah, make a decent sized little ranch here.
Yeah, whatever. So to put it in comparison, the gun site would be the next biggest one. That's 2,000 acres. The Ben Avery shooting facility here in Arizona is 1,600 acres. That's the largest public one. And then you got Front Sight up in Nevada, which is only 500 acres. So the biggest thing we got basically is a public facility or a private facility, I guess, available to the public. It would be a 2,000 acre gun site, which is pretty big. And then this place is 33,000 acres. It's like a town. And I don't know if I said in this one, but they say on Wikipedia that the town nearby brings in $7 million a year just from people going to the NRA center there. $7 million. Keep in mind, Bob, this is in that, you know how when we were driving up to Colorado and we stopped at that little truck stop, like because we kept having to stop. It was so late at night to fucking, you know, stay on the road or whatever. We kept stopping for coffee. Wherever we stopped for coffee, that little tiny town, like 2 miles before you hit Colorado, is this little town. They bring in $7 million from the NRA.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to check that place out because it's got RV parking too and full service hookups.
But yeah, we'll definitely be doing some sort of something here next year. They have the RV, so people can drive there and you can either RV park or just plain camp, right? Different levels of RV. Then you've got cabins and like dorms and stuff. So you can either rent a whole cabin out or like dorm rooms in a hotel type of situation. And then you have access to the different range. You can rent a whole range for a period of time. But 2 hours south is all the Red Dawn filming locations, and 3 hours north is Dragon Man. So Dragon Man opens up again in April. We'll try to figure out some way to come up with some sort of an event where we can get everybody together and get some shooting done, get some sightseeing done, and then do some shooting up at Dragon Man land. All right, so then that'll take us into the third topic. Alternative gun topic this week is anybody ever done a stock repair by piecing together different firearms? So just taking, you know, a similar stock or replacing it or something. Have you ever just made a new stock?
I have not.
I have never even heard of such a thing.
Well,
This might be a short one then.
Well, Oro seems to be enjoying his treat.
You can hear him chewing on that bone.
Yeah, you better beat him some more.
Sounds like fun.
Give me that bone.
Dano says you can't have it.
All right.
I didn't say to take it away from him.
Oh, that's what we're telling him, Dano. Next time he sees you, he's going to remember that.
You know, bite
Yeah,
my
maybe
balls
he'll
off.
stop eating me and he'll start biting Dano. But
Yeah.
anyway, so going back to the stock thing. So is this a common thing people do where, like, if you have like a cracked stock or something, you cut a piece off of one and put it onto another one or something? I guess I'm not even understanding what's going on here.
I mean, I can definitely see, like, let's say back in what we always called the olden days. You were in the West, or you were someplace where the parts were not readily available. Somebody with a wood lathe turned by a leather belt, connected to a stream was not available. So you couldn't just turn another stock for you. So you would take something similar to it, cut it off at some sort of similar point, and make some sort of mechanical interface between the two.
You use a kerf joint. That's what you use.
Like that. But yeah, I mean, if you have a broken stock and it's your only rifle, you can't wait for the guy to come in town who's only there every 3 months.
For me, it was just being a kid and having access to tools, and then having BB guns break or something. So now you'd have the interface to your BB gun, right? However, the stock connected to the gun, and then you'd have all these other stocks that I just had access to, right? Like old wooden stocks and stuff, maybe broken from some other project. So what I would do is hobble them together so I didn't have to do the work of taking a piece of wood and making the entire interface with the BB gun and then a stock, right? So I had a stock and I had this interface. I would just sort of chop it somehow and glue them together, join them together like Bob's saying, and then made do. Then I had, kind of a different stock. Once I did that a few times to fix something, then I would just play around because I had nothing else to do. BB guns, who cares if you mess up a BB gun? But I remember back in the day, I think it's still this way. You can get stocks for nothing, $1, $2. So it'll be somebody with like one of them 5-gallon cardboard, bins with just stocks jammed in it, all different ones that are broke or, that they just replaced, the stock with a fancy one. And they've got very little value anymore.
I don't know. That's interesting. Like you said, especially if you're just like playing around. I mean, you might develop some type of, angle or contour that doesn't even really exist in the wild, but it works well for you. And now you just made like a custom stock kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, if you've just got cracks in them, they're not that hard to repair. You can, pre-drill, put a dowel in there that will strengthen the wood.
Yeah, and I've seen that too, where people will put like a different stock on an old shotgun receiver or something like that. I don't know.
What's interesting though about the part where it interfaces with the receiver, because a lot of times those are attached differently. So instead of, you might find a stock you really like, but it is for a different gun, so it has a different like front part. You just chop that off and then use the part that is already made.
A hacksaw and drill, it'll fix it.
Yeah,
Dremel. That's where you need a Dremel.
Yeah.
All right. So first person on gun channels to correctly identify what all that racket was. You'll only know if you're watching the Instagram.
Oh, snap.
All right. So that was fixing a stock, old stock, however the stock.
Yeah. And Angry's saying that, splicing stocks was very common. So
not as common.
I guess it exists. I just have never done it.
Not as common as commenting on gun channels, I guess, but yes, he did say that. All right. So Is there anything else? Oh, yes, there's something else. Today we're starting a new feature of the show.
Are we?
Yeah, so we're going to start going over to the YouTubes and checking out some of the viewer comments because we get quite a few of them actually, and we're trying to encourage people to do more of them. So we've got some old videos over there, old shows. Looks like Philo saying, listened to you guys with coffee and I'm reduced to watching reruns. Someone needs to do a weekend show. I need my talking heads. So we do have Travis doing Caliber Corner, but that's like at 2 o'clock in the morning and no one is awake for that. And then it's an hour. He does it for like 59 minutes and then ends. Then you got Rick doing Rick's Life as I See It. And that's like another
It's not
hour.
at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Travis?
Yeah, Caliber Corner. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning.
That's like 5 over here.
Eastern, which is that's a crazy hour to try to do something live.
So those of you that live in 2/3 of the United States know it's not in the middle of the night.
Technical details. There are 2 shows on Saturday, but it looks like there's people that are looking for more shows on Saturday. That's all I'm saying. Somebody's obviously, maybe there was a gas leak or something, but they're saying LMAFO for Bob at 4936.
Smoking product though. And your own ammo.
So Bob
That wasn't funny.
Oh, what happened?
I just want to go back to the weekend thing. There's also lobbies over on gun channels almost all day. And yes, sometimes they go off topic, but you can always jump in and try and steer the conversation into on topic stuff. And those are always fun.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Just go in and start a conversation because most people talk guns as soon as you bring it up. Just that when there's nothing else to talk about, we talk about whatever's on your mind, right?
Yeah, if people are being weird in there, all you got to do is just go in there and, you know, like you said, say what's on your mind, ask a question, whatever.
A variant of that I would like to mention is there's nothing stopping any Gun Channels member from opening up a topic show just to do once, if that's all you want to do, on Saturday afternoon. You want to talk about coach guns for an hour, you can open up the channel, invite people in and talk about coach guns for an hour. You don't have to necessarily try to redirect the lobby. Although that's certainly an option to do, you don't have to do that. You can simply do your own thing.
That's awesome.
Rick's Life as I See It is kind of a variant of that.
That's a good point. Exactly. And you don't have to do it as a regular thing, like you're saying. If you just wanted to do it once to get it out of your system or get your questions answered, or if you see some horrible article, you want to bring it up so that people can, you know, talk about it. All right. So Cycle Camp is saying that he heard Bob snort when he picked up his birther MLE 16, and then talked about the white flag joke. Watched after the fact on YouTube, so letting us know that he watched it after the fact. Thanks for that. Lets us know when people are watching the show. And then we get down to, this is all from, I don't know, some episode. I think these are all the same episode. Somebody's saying he got his Old West cards. That's awesome. Thanks. Ghost is saying missed the show live, but heard us chatting him up and send us a check. That's good. We haven't actually got the check yet, so you might want to use PayPal.
And just, you know, send 2 or 3 of the checks in case they get lost in the mail.
Right. That way we can test them by making sure they each go through to our bank correctly.
Mm-hmm. Preferably $100 or more if you want to be member of the day. Just saying.
Let's see. Anyway, we can find out if the HK will release the MR762A3 at SHOT Show. Claims no knowledge of any new rifles, but German civilians got the new A3 models in March and the A5 models for military and law enforcement. The civilian model is extremely badass and goes into the characteristics of it. Could be the best battle rifle on the earth to this date. So that's interesting. I don't know. I don't usually go to the HK booth, but potentially, if you remind us again, you know, reminding us now, is it going to remember? There's no guarantee we're going to remember then, but if we do some sort of a like form or some sort of a list of like, hey, to remind us of what to look at gun SHOT Show, we're going to have 5 people there. Are you going, Smeggy? You got your stuff set up yet?
No, not yet.
All right, so we got to get Smeggy in there. All right. So, good question. So I don't know. We'll have to see if we remember when SHOT Show happens. Sounds interesting, though. New rifle from HK that they will sell and then never support because they hate us. Let's see. The Swiss Army gun. So I don't know what he's talking about in that one. Chairs against the wall. Okay. Thanks. Let's see. Can you explain how Clint Walker took blood money from Sandy Hook? That was his own statement. Okay, so I don't know what show this is in regards to, so this isn't necessarily the best thing to do, but it looks like this is a long comment from a month ago. Can you explain how Clint Walker took blood money from the Sandy Hook shooting? That was his own statement. Also, Clint also stated his childhood friends got shot. Mixed Flips channel posted the dead women. None of them are Clint's age, so how did he go to middle school with them? He also claimed he was a sniper and got busted for valor, got kicked out of a company. I think that guy is deep cover shill. Something is not right with that guy. He stated his two friends can't leave without taking Valiums. Sure, it sounded like Clint had eating Valiums before the show. So that's going back to that whole thing on What's-His-Face's roundtable. Do you guys remember that anymore?
Yeah, kind of.
So I don't know. I think that guy was used to talking to people who just don't care about the second. At least that's what I'd like to think. You know, the best possible scenario is that he's used to talking to people that just don't care about the second. So nobody challenges him on Second Amendment issue, right? So he just started talking like he would to those kind of people, and then probably quickly realized, or at least realized at some point, that the people he was actually talking to don't agree with that sentiment. So I don't know if he sat around thinking ahead of time, like, this is what I'm going to say on the round table. I think he was just saying stuff, and I don't know the validity or truth of any of it, really.
No, he never did say, I don't think that his two friends were killed. I think he said they were shot now. So, you know, because the guy mentions in the question that, you know, of the dead, you know, none were within Clint's age, but I mean, that his friends could have been just wounded, not killed. So,
and I don't remember him. I didn't go back and watch it, but is it possible he said children of my friends from middle school? I don't know, because he does seem kind of old. But either way, who really cares? If you got emotions in the situation, that doesn't give you some sort of like authority to throw the second under the bus. And I don't know why anybody would want to. Like, oh, okay, so you know somebody who's been shot, then all of a sudden you don't get the Second Amendment anymore?
If anything, there is a tendency, which is not absolute, to reduce the level of objectivity when you become emotionally attached to an issue.
Yeah, just step away. Like, you should just step away from it and be like, hey, I shouldn't be talking about it right now.
Yeah. Whether it's the environment or whether it's the Second Amendment.
So, yeah, I don't know if we can keep going into that, but yeah, that was definitely a weird situation back then. Let's see. This is actually more from back then. No, I guess we'll keep doing that as time goes on. So if you want to leave comments on Fridays, we'll address them. We'll be watching them over on Fun Channels and then over on iTunes and over on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, I don't know what Smiggy's talking about there, so we'll keep going. What? So today is Friday.
I was talking about something? What was I talking about?
You got a comment here.
You had answered it, G-Web, so just keep rolling.
Oh, okay. All right, so then I think that's about it for the show today. We went a little bit over, but or maybe we started a little bit late and we're right on time. I forget. But it was episode 450. We'll be back on Monday with episode 451.
Whoops.
Yeah. Dano, did you just bunt?
I don't think I have that power. But you might want to do the quote while we're waiting.
That's what I'm going to do, too. So we got a quote today by Larry Elder. Before that, though, I want to remind everybody, please like, share, subscribe, thumbs up. If you can't afford to, support us on Patreon. The link will be in the show description. So our quote today, Larry Elder. A woman who demands further gun control legislation is like a chicken who roots for Colonel Sanders. Isn't that the truth? So on that wonderful, wise words, thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we'll catch you all to Monday.
What's the idea?
Anything you want to say, G-Webs?
Yeah, where'd I get cut off at?
Bob's done the quote. Anything you want to make announcements or plugs?
Yeah, when did I get cut off at?
You got caught off saying War Show will be back on Monday.
Yeah, you were ending the show.
Oh, I wasn't ending the show. So we'll be back on Monday. So did I already talk about getting the media passes and all that?
We were going to do that off air.
No, we're not doing that off air. I was talking about Monday's show. Did I describe Monday's show on air?
You got cut off saying 4:51, and then you got cut off.
Okay. So on Monday, we're going to be talking about getting the media passes. It's getting to the end of the window for people to get into SHOT Show. So if you're interested in that, we'll try to help you out on Monday. We'll also be talking about the events. I went through and posted pretty much everything that I knew of from 2017 that's already scheduled for 2018 on the Gun Channel's calendar. So if you would go through there and make sure I didn't miss anything, and if I did, add it to the calendar. Mondays we feature the different shooting events that are going on so that people can start preparing for them. And that is what's going on Monday. Did you guys talk about Travis and Rick again for tomorrow? And Edge and Clover tonight?
Did not do the weekend roundup.
All right, so we'll talk again about what we just said. Clover and Edge will have shows tonight. Travis and Rick tomorrow. Sounds like other people might be doing some other shows as well. And if you do, just let people know. We'll help you post them over there on the gun channels and help promote them, let people know about them. Remember, if you're spending a bunch of money, go spend some of it over at gearwebsites.com.
Hey, and before we wrap things up, just real quick, my offer still stands. If anybody wants to email at dailygunshow@gmail.com, I'll help them out with their gun channel or whatever. Whatever question.
We send you an email, Jimmy.
Yeah, even if, let me just throw in a little tidbit. Even if you only have a phone, there are ways to host it over on gun channels. Just requires a little bit of coordination between yourself and one of the mods to make sure that it's embedded over on gun channels. So we are more than willing to make that happen. We just need to know that you want the help and what you want.
We were live on Instagram today with 149 people watching. So get a lot of views from over there. Maybe we'll turn it into an Instagram show.
All right. Well, I think on that note, we should shut this puppy down. I think we're done. So, see y'all.
Oh, that was your quote? See y'all?
No, I did the quote already. Dano told me to do it as soon as you dropped out. He said, do the quote. Get the show over with before he comes back.
That's not what I said. The audience knows the truth.
All right, we're done, so we can shut down.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.
Ninja! Ninja! Ninja!